Let's go. Let's go. Here we go. It's TCU Hate Week, baby. Live from Fondren Library on the beautiful campus of SMU in the office of TCU Hate here in Fondren Library. You're listening to the Mustang Mood podcast. Heck yeah, let's go.
That was epic. Perfect.
Let's go.
Love it.
All right. It's TCU Hate Week. We've got our shirts on. TCU sucks.
That's right.
They do suck.
Yeah, if you're not listening, just imagine just beautiful shirts that just, deter all people in purple. They just run away screaming when
They get right to the point too.
They really do. I mean, it tells people exactly how you feel.
It does. And you can get these shirts from Teos Designs.
Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But
Sorry, I didn't mean to steal thunder, but
before we talk about TCU, we'll talk about TCU a little differently and how bad they are at volleyball, and then how good we are at volleyball.
yes.
So TCU lost to us twice. Is that right?
I think it's
Once?
twice. I think we played them twice in the preseason.
Yep. And we beat them both times. But that doesn't mean as much as beating the number 2 team in the nation, in Nebraska. That game was awesome.
It was awesome.
Yannick and I got to go, and that was like a really epic game. The environment in Moody was
Electric.
electric. Moody magic felt back.
I mean, it was shaking. Like, I mean, the stadium was so loud. It felt like a football stadium in Moody, and I haven't felt that way. I mean, it's been years since I felt like Moody's sounded like that.
Yeah, 2017, 2018 probably.
Yeah.
Since Moody's been that full, that excited about what was happening because of SMU.
And just the clean sweep. I mean, dominating in 3 straight sets was just, it really felt like, as we thought, hey, as you watch the game, you're like, okay, wow, like our volleyball team is really good. Like they could actually do some real damage in the tournament, which, as Ellie and as the girls were saying when we had them on the podcast a few weeks ago, it's like March Madness. I think with a team like that, anything's possible. So I'm very, very excited for them.
And the coach in the post-game press conference, she just said, in my heart, I truly believe that we can compete with anybody. And I think that was true. I mean, we competed with the number 2 team in the nation really, really well and swept them in Moody Coliseum. That was awesome. Then went on and played a few more games, lost one to some college that I'd never heard of before. But then we went on the road on Tuesday and beat up on Baylor in Waco.
Number 18, I think? Or
yeah, something like that, top 20.
Yeah, they were a top 20 team.
And so that was awesome. Women's volleyball has been really good. Then we played number 9 Kentucky on Friday, lost that game, but it was a really close game, and then beat Houston yesterday. So volleyball is doing great, and really I think that ACC should look out. We've got a really solid volleyball team. So yeah, shout out to the volleyball team.
So did you say we already played TCU in volleyball?
In the preseason, not in the regular season.
Yeah, we're not going to play them in a game that counts this season.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it was
that one counts, I think. Just
does in my heart.
Yeah, we needed to put that out there because I mean, let's face it, TCU sucks. So
Amen.
But okay, yeah. So
I think George has a point about game day.
Yeah, I have a public service announcement. For those who don't know me, my name's George Carson. I've been on this show once before. Graduated class of 2021. So I wasn't at the Houston Christian game, but I think the same thing happened. But I've got some things to say about the team skipping varsity. That is embarrassing. Like I was so mad after the game last week. I was upset because of the performance, but the reality is that's football. Sometimes you play bad. These things happen. But something like skipping varsity, that doesn't happen. That should never happen. Sorry, am I too loud?
No, keep going.
This SMU football team was garbage for decades after the death penalty. And after every single one of those games, every single one we got blown out by 50 by some rando school. The players stay behind and sang the varsity with the students every time. And now that we're suddenly in the big leagues, back in a big conference, playing big games, we stop. That's pathetic. Rick Hart and Rhett Lashley need to fix this. I don't understand why we stopped. Do y'all have any idea?
Yeah. So in talking with the band, it seems like they decided that they didn't want to stay very long on the field after the game. And so they were going to play the fight song, which apparently the players know better than varsity.
But why did they decide they didn't want to stay on the field long?
I don't know.
I'm just going to make a couple comments here. One is, yeah, I get they know that better. But if you're being essentially paid to be on campus, and if you've seen a college football playbook, the stuff they have to memorize, it's probably not that hard to memorize a little
Exactly.
a little tune at the end of a game. And the other thing is, I feel like it's SMU's trying to act like a big boy. You know, like they don't want to look like they're kiddie in some way. But the problem is that when you take out traditions like this, you take out what makes college football great in a unique sport from the NFL.
Exactly.
We're paying players now, so we're not different in that way. We're no longer really student athletes in like an exclusive sense of amateur athletes. And if you take out the traditions, college football is no longer college football that we know and love.
And the band and the cheerleaders and the student section and all the team spirit was exceptional at the BYU game. Honestly, best I've ever seen at SMU. I can tell the school has poured a lot more effort, and the students have poured a lot more effort into making that big, which makes it all the more ridiculous that we are skipping the varsity. So, Rhett, Rick, I know y'all are big fans of the show. Fix this. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for you. It's embarrassing for us as fans.
Yeah.
That's what I got. So,
If anything, we need more traditions, not fewer at SMU.
I was going to say we already don't have a lot of traditions.
We can't keep throwing out what little we have that dates back, decades.
we don't need to go like full A&M cult, but like, yeah, a few more would be nice.
Hey, but I will say something. So I was at the A&M Florida game. They stay after the game to do their fight song.
Oh,
All
yeah.
the players. Every player.
Florida did?
No, A&M did.
Oh, okay.
does.
Well,
And they do
yeah.
it whether they win or lose. They will stay after the game, and they will go up to the fans that are on the sidelines, because all the fans will gather together, and they will stand right in front of the fans, and they'll do the fight song with the fans right afterwards. Which is, it's cult-like.
But it's a good
They have
cult.
loyalty, which
Yeah.
we want to have at SMU. We want that kind of fan base that is excited, and the players that want to engage with the fan base. That's what we want at SMU.
Exactly.
To be fair, we can't really blame the players. I don't think it's a decision they made, but
It's
not the players.
We're not blaming the players. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah,
we want, this is like the culture that we want, and we need the powers that be that make these decisions to allow the players to participate and make a culture that people want to be a part of.
allow or force, basically. Like, tell them this
for
is
some
what you're
people,
going to do.
For some people,
Yeah.
it will be forced.
We're
but
employing them to have good culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not for. I mean, they get told to do lots of things, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, they're forced to work out
right.
because they can't be out of shape at a game.
And traditions require like they have to be forced to continue. Like,
Yeah.
you're not going to learn a song. Like, I'm not going to sing. I would have never learned varsity if it wasn't like a tradition at SMU that I was like taught.
Yeah.
So we need to teach them and then understand that it's valuable to the people who are in the stands cheering for you. And if you value them, then please value this.
Yeah. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. I've heard a lot of people talk about that. So,
Yeah, we don't blame the players. Like,
Yeah.
like this isn't something that's the players' fault, but it does need to be fixed.
Yeah, that message is for the powers that be. So
yeah.
Okay. So it is TCU Hate Week. And one thing that I was thinking about this week is all these times that we've seen people wearing TCU shirts out in public in Dallas. You were saying that you saw one in Chick-fil-A
this
the other
week.
day.
Chick-fil-A on Hillcrest.
All right. There's a
Shameful.
Chick-fil-A on Preston that every time I go, there's this high school kid who every time I go in, I happen to be wearing an SMU shirt. And he's like, "Oh, did you go to SMU?" Like, I've seen him at least 3 times. And every single time I've seen him, he's asked me that question. And I'm like, yeah, like SMU is awesome. You should totally go there. And this last time he was like, "Oh, did you go to SMU?" I'm like, "Yeah, I totally did." And he's like, "Yes, I would like to go to either SMU, Baylor, or TCU." I was like, the first 2 are fine. The first one is great. The second one is fine. And the third one is a awful choice. You should not do that. And he just like starts laughing, and he gives me a gift card, like a Chick-fil-A gift card. He's like, "You're a cool guy. Here's a gift card." I'm like, "What?
What?
This is awesome." And so I feel like if I wore my TCU Sucks shirt, I would get even more gift cards from this guy. But I think this guy needs a TCU Sucks shirt. So
Dang, I'm out here hating TCU for free, and you're getting paid?
yeah, from Chick-fil-A,
Wow.
which is pretty great.
I
So,
mean, doesn't
I'm
that get
jealous.
is that like a little bit of like well, never mind. I'm not gonna.
so
Yeah.
if you,
You know what I was
want
thinking.
to get rewards at a Chick-fil-A on Preston, then go to tejasdesigns.com and order you a TCU Suck shirt. I was on the website today and I saw that they were on sale, and so order them ASAP.
That is Tejas, Taysoss Designs, not Tejas with a J.
Correct.
HOSS, yes.
Yes. TAYHOSS.
Should we put a link in the description?
Yeah, there's a link.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Also, there's on spot 69 on the Boulevard.
Nice.
So yeah, they're right by the health center. And so if you can't order one in time for the game this weekend, go to spot 69 on the Boulevard and order one. Tell them that the Mustang Mood sent you, and they'll be excited to see you. So
Thanks.
yeah. All right. Do y'all want to talk about jerseys, or do we want to talk kind of get into the politics?
Let's do jerseys first.
Okay.
We'll save the meat for the middle.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me pull it up real quick.
I'll leave the jerseys to you guys. I've made my stance clear. I don't think mine is changing.
Yeah, I guess
Are we just adding
We're
the
just
new
adding
red
the
we're
ones?
just
red.
adding the
Yeah.
red and the new blue.
Oh,
that's
for the
right.
new ones that came in. Okay,
Yeah.
I see.
So I guess let's start with the new blue one. Where would y'all rank that one?
I'm kind of a bad fan because I have not seen these yet. Are the ones we're wearing this week?
I
I know we're wearing blue this week, but I assumed it was the blue Dallas ones.
We will. We wore it
wore it.
against Houston Christian. It's the same thing. It's just the the font and the
yeah,
accents I think
okay.
are different.
I didn't
right?
realize that one wasn't already
I think-
on there. Okay.
It's basically the white one but blue.
Yeah,
they
with
just-
the
yeah.
new.
Yeah.
Okay.
the
Yeah.
new SMU font.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I know those.
I guess I'd put it wherever the white one was. I think. I don't remember where we
like
put
these.
it though.
Yeah. For a second there, I thought I missed a jersey reveal. I'm like, there's no way.
We put the white ones in B tier.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I feel good with this one either. B tier, maybe even A tier. I like blue.
I mean,
look is good.
I like. So you guys like blue better than white, right? I think that's what we. Oh no. You guys like the white Dallas better. I like the blue better, but
Yeah, the white Dallas is our
is our. Okay.
A tier right now.
Yeah, I would put it either A or B. The new one, the new blue.
A or B. Okay. Yeah, I think the new blue one, I think it looks really good. It's not like, I don't think it's as good as the Dallas or these old ones. I don't know. Maybe it is that good.
I feel like it is better than the B tier.
Yeah, I would say it's A tier. The new blue jerseys are A tier.
Yeah, I think
I'm
it
good
looks
with
better
that.
than the B tier.
But we're gonna leave white on B tier.
I think I slightly prefer the white in those, but I'm not.
I think I like the white better as well.
I think
I'm not
our
gonna
all
die on
white
that
is
hill.
our best look.
With the Dallas, yeah,
Because we originally had it on C, and then we
that's
bumped
true.
it up
I
to
like
B.
the SMU whites better with white pants. I don't know if we ever wear them with white pants. That picture shows blue pants.
Yeah, these we wore them with both white
Okay,
and blue pants. The new SMU white ones.
yeah,
I actually do think these look better than the other ones.
I'd put the new SMU whites in A with white pants and B with blue pants. I don't want to confuse things too much, but that's my opinion.
That's fair. I agree.
Okay. So where are we with the new blue jersey here?
We can post this tier list.
We will.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Um,
So we think A or B?
A.
A.
I'm good with
I'm okay
A.
with A. I think the blue look, the white helmet, blue jersey, white pants is a pretty great look.
Yeah.
I also think white helmet, white jersey, white pants is a great look.
Yeah.
Are y'all, if we add it with white pants, would y'all be okay moving the
Yeah.
white jersey to A?
A, I agree.
Just we don't have to replace it. We just
Let's do it.
yeah.
All right. And how about the red jerseys?
I'm good with B.
Yeah, I would
Um,
say B, no higher.
Yeah. I liked them. I'm glad that we have them.
Yeah.
but they're not better than the blue.
I think they might benefit from some red pants. They also might benefit if we scored touchdowns while wearing them. But
That's true. I feel like I liked them better in the pictures than I did in person. Something looked off in person to me,
Really?
but I didn't hate them. I just was like, yeah.
I'm glad that we have red now.
me too.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I'm glad we have all three combinations. I think they look pretty sharp. Let's see, that's
I mean, if you
game.
include the black ones, which are basically the same template, then we have 4.
oh, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
And now all of our jerseys are on the same template,
Yeah, which
And
is
I-
nice.
except for the Dallas jersey,
Yeah, which is fine.
which is that's fine. They're kind of different, but the black, the red, the blue, and the white are all kind of the same template.
I feel like last year, maybe 2 years ago, we got in a place where I feel like we're the Dallas is a little too much.
Yeah,
And I'm glad we're 20. Like, obviously, against TCU, you have to wear Dallas no matter what.
I think
Yeah.
this should be the only week that we wear them this season. Oh, well, we could have worn them against Houston Christian, but I
Oh,
think
we
we should
didn't.
only wear them against Texas teams.
I agree.
I like that.
But that will change going forward because
Yeah.
once we get rid of TCU, we won't really.
Well, we play
Well,
Baylor next year.
Oh, okay. That's
I thought, do we have one more against TCU next year?
yeah,
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 next year.
next
we play
year.
TCU.
And then,
next year.
we play them both next year. Okay. That'll be fun.
that will be fun.
Okay, so we move white up, blue goes to A, and then red to B.
Yeah,
I agree. I think that's a pretty fair representation of SMU's jerseys. I think, we looked good this last week, but we played terrible. So that
yeah,
there's definitely a sour taste in the mouth, and it's not as good as the blue. So.
yeah, definitely.
All right, so let us know what you think about the jerseys in the comments. If you think we should move any of these around. Hayden Howerton, we still feel very strongly that these black and red jerseys
Are the worst.
are the worst. The chrome
Yeah.
helmet was just awful.
It's Stanford.
It's okay, Hayden. You're still the GOAT O lineman.
Do you have any eligibility left? We could definitely use some
Yeah,
there.
that's a fact.
All right. Cool. Now let's
Into the
talk
game.
about
I don't want to do this.
about the QB situation.
Yeah, I'll start. First of all, so if you haven't heard, which I'm sure you have if you're watching this, Kevin Jennings is officially the starter going forward. I have a lot of negative things to say about this, and it has nothing to do with what I think Kevin is versus Preston. For me, it's not necessarily that a decision was made. It was when and how that decision was made. First of all, I think we've talked about it ad nauseum that it's impossible for you to build an identity or get any kind of rhythm or consistency when you're flip-flopping back and forth. Yannick, let's give a shout out to the Florida Gators who played Texas A&M yesterday and tried a 2-quarterback system, and oh my gosh, surprisingly, it didn't work. Can you
Yeah.
believe it?
It wasn't that pretty. So it's
2 completely different style of
two
quarterbacks.
completely different style of quarterbacks, and no consistency or rhythm has been said. So I got to watch on the other side of a team that floundered with it, and so I really hope that we are not going to be doing that.
Yeah, and I mean, thankfully it's over, but this is what I'm going to read a quote that Rhett Lashley had to say on the quarterback change. He said, I think this was on Tuesday, "We feel like with the way we are in offense and direction we need to go and with the pieces we have, it's going to give us the best chance to win. And most importantly, gives our team and our offense consistency, and we can start to get back to the identity we've always had." Which for me was a bruh moment, because I've been saying since week 1 or week 0 that there's no way a quarterback can get into a rhythm when he's constantly off the field, back on the field, off the field. And so now to hear, like, after we talked about it, this was going to cost us a game. I mean, does anybody think that this didn't cost us a game? I know that we made a lot of mistakes and we still should have won, but I truly believe if they had one quarterback and stuck with him the whole game, we would have won that game. And I just think, why did it take us a loss to BYU to decide, oh, wait, maybe we should just play one quarterback, which is what we've been saying since the beginning. And I also think that Preston Stone has definitely been used as a scapegoat in the fan base. Everybody's been talking about his 3 drives were terrible. I heard it everywhere, even from people who cover the team. And it's like he had no chance. I don't think either of them were given a fair shot to win the job.
Do you think that his drives were good or like?
No, they were terrible, but
Yeah.
He had literally
But how
no
much of the fault
chance.
is his? That's the question.
Yeah, he had no chance. And it's like if your sample size is three drives against BYU, that's nothing. I mean, a quarterback needs to get into a rhythm, especially when coming off an injury. He missed most of the spring. He didn't get into a rhythm, and so it's just you have to work through the rust. And that's what I was saying. Like, look, give him the first half. If he plays like crap, or if the first quarter fully was like that bad, of course, like, yeah, make the move. And I'm not even saying that they made the wrong decision. It's just like, as a coaching staff, your job is to put the right players on the field. Why was the offseason not enough time to figure that out? Why did we need 3 games and throwing back and forth to figure that out? That just makes me question, like, how good are you at your job if you have to rotate like this, which shockingly nobody ever does except for Florida, and we know where Florida's coach is headed very soon. I guess I just don't understand why it took so long. Like, why do we have to wait to lose a game for us to decide, okay, maybe this isn't working? Like, us people in the peanut stands, in the peanut gallery, we knew 3 weeks ago this was not going to work, and here we are. We lost a game that we should have won because of it, and it's frustrating. It's really frustrating, and sorry, it's okay. I don't understand, and I again, like, if you really thought Kevin was the guy the whole time, which it seems like they were, and they wanted us to see it, like, just pick him from the beginning. Like, I understand it's going to hurt somebody's feelings, but, like, is it worth losing a game over? I don't think so. Anyways, I just think it was dumb, and I think it cost us a game. So
I know one guy who's been saying that Kevin's better quarterback for like 3 years now. Shout out to Ben Lynn.
There you go. Yeah, if we don't want our fans to be booing and shouting fire, well, I guess it'd be fire Rhett in this case. The Florida fans were like chanting fire Billy. You got to be careful with that. But my biggest problem with how it all played out is that, you know, when we started off the season against Nevada, both quarterbacks did not look good in the first half. Third quarter wasn't great. But then Preston goes on to have, like, his last 3 drives, I think were all scores. It was touchdown, field goal, touchdown, if I recall. And he played well. And then we go into, well, I mean,
he finished well.
He
took off the rust.
He finished well. What I'm saying, yeah, I'm not saying he started well, but what I'm saying is he finished well. Then we go into Houston Christian, limited snaps, plays well in limited snaps, and then he only got 3 drives. And so if you think about, like, somebody trying to shake off the rust of a massive injury,
yeah, broken bone.
I think you can usually give them part of their first game back, or even just their entire first game back is like, okay, they're shaking off the rust of a major break.
Second game doesn't really matter. It doesn't count.
But he didn't. But he did everything right. Was one.
Yeah.
Like, he did everything right. Like, after he shook off some rust, he did everything right. Then he goes down and does everything right, and then only 3 drives, where his O-line. I mean, I love our O-line guys, but
they were horrible.
But we got it. He was getting, you know, blitzkrieged. You know.
Yeah.
It was rough to watch, and so I feel like it wasn't really fair to somebody that took us to a conference championship. And he's trending in the right direction to only give him 3 drives in a real game.
Yeah, but Kevin won us the conference championship. I mean, and I'm looking at the stats right now.
Look at Kevin Jennings' stats in the conference championship game. He had 3 turnovers.
It's also not really fair to compare last year and this year, and you can just look at our friends Florida State for that.
That is also true.
That's
well,
true.
but also, like, the defense won that game. I mean, we kicked like 1,000 field goals.
But that's kind of the point, though, is that, like,
and
Stone kind of earned at least, like.
And I heard a prominent news place that covered SMU. They were talking about how, like, well, Kevin's won the big game, Preston hasn't, and I'm like, again, the defense won that game. Like, I could have been playing quarterback and we would have won because the defense absolutely obliterated Tulane in that game. So to use that as a point for, like, yes, Kevin, and no to Preston because he lost to TCU and Oklahoma, like, it's just.
They've
it
lost
just doesn't make
equally
sense.
as big
Yeah.
games. I mean,
and the thing is if Kevin was going out there and, like, absolutely lighting it up, you know, like, I think I heard somebody, I don't know if they compared this or a different one to, like, Tua and Jalen Hurts. Like everybody knew Tua was better probably, but Jalen was still playing really, really well. And then in the last game, like, they had to throw Tua on because Tua was, like, a generational talent. Like, I haven't seen that from Kevin. I think he could be really good, but, like, right now we have no downfield passing game. And also when they're talking about opening the whole field, he doesn't do that. I mean, for me, like, if we could have Kevin's intermediate everything and then Preston's, like, long, then, like, if they could just become one quarterback, we'd be set. Yeah. But they both have their limitations, so I guess it's just. I agree with you though. Like, I don't think he did anything to lose the job. I mean, he was struggling, but, like, the only way you stop struggling is working through what you're going through. Like, at least if he got, like, a few drives, he was like 4 or 5.
It's just the trajectory. Like, you start the season off after a break. you're going to struggle a little bit. But then everything was going in the right direction, and then they started off a little sluggish against BYU. No chance to really get in rhythm. This is no hate to Kevin Jennings, because I think Kevin Jennings is actually, he could be really solid. If he develops a better passing game, I mean, he would be lethal. And so if this is the right to play for us, we'll find out against TCU this upcoming week. And if we win, hey,
made the right decision.
We made the right decision. Let's go with it. It's just the way that it was handled is like, it felt like it just didn't feel fair considering what got us here.
And I don't want to speculate, but it felt to me like the coaching staff and maybe the team thinks that Kevin is better, but like they couldn't just make the decision. And so it's almost like, I don't know if, again, I'm not like accusing them of doing this maliciously, but like it felt kind of like, let's show you, Preston. This is what we're seeing in practice. And I'm like, if that's what you're seeing in practice, throw the guy out there that you think is the best one. Don't like screw around with the game. Like we're thinking we're just gonna, we'll just do whatever we want. We'll get by BYU. We almost did that against Nevada and lost. So it's just, if Kevin's, I don't care who the starter is. If you think he's the best guy, put him out there in the beginning. Like there's no need for this back and forth. Like I don't know.
Here's my question: if let's say this week Kevin Jennings struggles, Preston Stone comes in, saves the game, and we win. Do we open this back up, or do you say we got to stick with Kevin, or is that just kind of dependent on how it happens?
I mean, that's a good question. It's confusing.
When you declare a starter, you can't go back 1 week into it.
Yeah, okay.
I feel like it's too much of a like a coaching faux pas of like you just don't do that. You don't declare a starter, make it official, and then 1 week later just drop them.
So then why did he declare Preston the starter when it was still a competition? Why didn't he just say, hey, like we're going to let them keep competing. We're not sure. They're both playing great.
I mean, probably because he earned it last season. I mean, y'all bring up a good point. Like Preston played great last season against American Conference teams, as he should have. And so he probably deserved the spot. But it doesn't seem like he's been able to come back from that injury as well as we would have hoped he did.
I also wonder how much of this is trying to make sure that one of them or the other doesn't transfer. And so trying to appease both of them.
Which I think would be a mistake.
I do too.
We lost the game because of it.
That's something you can't help.
Yeah, I think there's no way they're both going to be on the roster next year. I think one of them will transfer, whoever loses this QB battle, which, I mean, that's just how it is. I wouldn't be upset. That's just part of college football now.
Yeah.
Right.
But what I don't want to do is piss off both of them.
Well, yeah, that's part of college football. I mean, I watched this. The same thing is happening with Texas A&M right now. So they had a 5-star quarterback, and before he got a major injury where he broke his leg in 9 places, he was playing Heisman level like quarterback play. I mean, averaging like 350 yards a game, 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. It was something like that where he was playing like really, really well. Comes back, but the difference is that they've essentially moved on to their freshman because he's lingering injuries and stuff. But he started. Didn't do well. They moved on to the new guy, and the fan base is fine with it. It's the difference in like, okay, he was playing well. We gave him a shot at this, and he really didn't come back from this injury the way we hoped. Now we're going to give it to this guy, and he plays really well against Florida.
But he got like 2 full games.
But he got 2 full games, and it was like, they let the other guys come in and get backup reps, but it was, let's see if you can do this. Well, okay, so you're struggling. All right, let's move on to the next guy. Fan base isn't screaming.
And though it feels like they've been in that vicious cycle ever since Kellen Mond left. Yeah, like, I don't want to talk about another team for too long, but like that, they've kind of been stuck in the cycle with that, and I feel like it hasn't. And part of that's injuries, but part of it's just like they haven't really named a starter either. Sometimes it feels.
Well, they've had a season-ending injury for the last 5 years in a row, I think. But regardless, the point is that if you give the guy that had the season-ending injury a chance, the fan base is okay with it if he doesn't play that well. But the back and forth just really, I think, is just frustrating.
Yeah, like here's what I would have preferred. It doesn't matter at this point, but like, given the first half against Nevada, if it's crazy and we're about to lose, which we almost lost anyways, I understand, like, put Kevin in, play him the whole second half. But it was 2-2-2-2-2. It's just like you're never going to get into a rhythm. And I understand maybe during BYU, we can't screw around with, let's give Preston the first half and then the game could be over by then if he's really that bad, which I don't think he is. But like against Nevada, we kind of already screwed around. Like we could have done that, and then it's like, okay, it's Kevin. Like let's just run with it. Or if Preston played well and bounced back the whole game, it's like, okay, he's our quarterback. And then I understand, like, okay, hey, it's the second half against BYU. He's playing terrible. put Kevin in. Like, I understand that. But again, like, it's unfair to not. I don't think it's fair to Kevin either. They didn't let him get into a rhythm until he got the second half against BYU.
That's also
And
true.
he didn't play very well. But again, like, he hasn't gotten all the reps. We haven't chosen one guy. So it's like we're hurting both of them, in my opinion. That's over now, but we lost. So
That's true too.
It makes
so
me mad.
If Stone had the first half of Nevada and then Jennings came in and had the second half and started playing well, I mean, he probably could have gotten into a better rhythm, and then we would have had all these
more of a
reps
rhythm during BYU.
more rhythm to BYU, and then Jennings would be in a really much better spot in terms of going into TCU.
But also, like, because they did the rotation for Houston Christian the whole game. That kind of game is an easy time. Like, oh, let's get let's get our guy into a rhythm. Like, let's let him play the first half or whatever, the first quarter. But again, like, we're rotating, and then it's like, so yeah, like, you can't really. And also, like, on the message boards, it's been so divided, like, people fighting back and forth. Even the moderators seem to have an opinion, but it's just like, I feel like we're being divided by like, we're doing it to ourselves. I just don't understand that. I just don't think it's a good idea.
I'm off my soapbox.
Yeah, I'll get off too, because
No, I think this is a good discussion. We've got two quarterbacks. At the beginning of the season, I would have said, like, really good quarterbacks, and they have proven to be. Neither one has, like, won the job. It seems like
that's true.
They've both been just, like, mediocre.
Yeah.
And so here, let me read you the stats, and I'll let you guess which quarterback this is. So 29 completions from 51 attempts for 342 yards. So 57% completion, average of 6.7 yards. Who do you think that is? Or here, sorry, let me give you the other quarterbacks, and then I'll.
Yeah.
All right. So 25 completions, 43 attempts for 336 yards, and 58% completion.
What's the yards
percentage.
per?
Yards
attempts?
per is 7.8.
So that would be Preston.
Yeah, Jennings and
Probably,
then
yeah.
Stone in that order, I think.
Yep. Jennings
Yeah.
and Stone.
It's the lower yards per catch, because Jennings does a lot of
Yeah, a lot of more
dump off
intermediate.
passes where they're much shorter.
Which
He also
is
rushes more just in
versus
and he
general.
rushes
7.8.
more.
he is better in the, like, intermediate game. I get that. Preston's more of
Yeah.
a long hitter. Yeah, that's true.
You just look at the yards per attempt, and you just instantly know who's who.
But I mean, again, like, it's not like he played well against BYU either. They both were terrible. Obviously, Kevin had a larger sample. He was better.
Both have thrown one interception,
Yeah.
but the only difference on here is the sacks. Like, Preston's been sacked 3 times for negative 27 yards.
All against
compared to
BYU.
Kevin. Kevin hasn't been sacked. That's the difference. I think if the O-line was better, I would be more a proponent for Preston Stone.
That's fair.
But, I mean, the O-line has not proven that they can protect.
Yeah.
We did talk about this a little
That's
bit, where
fair.
it's or maybe it was Walker, it may have been Jared Walker, but basically the idea is that maybe our receivers aren't able to get the separation that they need to lend to a style of quarterback like Preston. And so and our O-line is obviously a little suspect in terms of, when we go up against a good defensive line, that the style of quarterback play from Jennings is just better for what we have. Even if he may not be a better passer. Actually, I don't think he is a better passer, but the style of quarterback may have been a really big factor in terms of the coaches picking him, which is fine. Just make that decision.
I think you're right. Our wide receiver room this year is not nearly as good as it has been in years past. This
We
is
just don't have
probably
any
the
weak guy.
weakest.
I mean, it's the same as last year, but obviously they're playing better competition this year.
Right.
So, yeah, I think
and no one stepped up in the wide receiver.
Yes, exactly.
RJ Maryland is our leading receiver right now, which is great. But I think that leads closer to a quarterback like Kevin than it does to Preston, because a better blocking asset, or someone typically running shorter routes than a wideout, and so
They
I
always
think,
have less yards. It's not good if your tight end is your leading receiver.
well.
And I mean, he
That's
got
where we're at
completely
right now.
shut down against BYU. But here's the thing, like, I know a lot of people say Kevin the offense looks better when Kevin is out there, which I fully agree. And we saw that against Nevada too, or Nevada. I don't remember how they want us to say it, whatever. But
It's okay. We won.
if that's the case, then at that point, go with him. Like, I kind of agree it didn't make sense to go back to Preston, but they did say he was a starter. And then they said it again and then again. But, like, if you really think that, then you don't have to prove it to the fans. Like, just do what you think is best. You're the one that's getting paid millions to do it. We're just here to have fun. And so, it's like, if you really thought the offense looked better, why did we have to wait till it was in dire straits? Why didn't we just do it like after Nevada. I don't know. That's my thing is like, there's part of me that thinks that Preston's better, but I can understand that Kevin might be better. But like, it's not. But like, that's the coach's job. If you think you have the answer, do it. Like, don't wait. Don't wait till we lose a game to do it. Is my thing.
It really does make me wonder, what does he know that we don't know about this?
Yeah.
I think one thing is
he definitely knows stuff we don't know.
I think the team prefers Kevin. I don't know if that's a
It does feel that way.
personality thing or if that's the way he's playing in practice
Yeah.
or what. But the fact that he's a team captain,
We always thought that was weird from the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah,
that
the double
two of
team
the
captain.
3 guys we
Yeah.
sent to media days, it was RJ Maryland, Preston Stone, and Kevin Jennings.
Yeah.
It's like, why are we sending 2 quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Because we have to take Preston. And in my head, I thought it was, we want to prevent Kevin from transferring and have a great backup. But it seems like those roles have kind of reversed now.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's
We
a play
want
for
to
the
honor
boosters.
Preston, but we want to be nice to Preston and thank him for what he's done, because he's done great things.
Yeah.
Love Preston Stone. He was exactly what we needed last year. Would have loved to have him healthy. I think if we had him healthy, there's a chance that we'd go to the Fiesta Bowl last
Yeah.
year, and that's definitely a bummer. But, thank him for what he's done. But maybe Kevin Jennings is the right guy to go from here on out, and I think that's the case. My personal vote would be for Kevin Jennings right now. I think
This
just
is,
kind of in total, he's our best bet.
I think it's important to note too that this is as George said, this is the final chapter for Stone in the sense that, now that we've selected Kevin Jennings, it's highly unlikely that Stone stays. We've got a good quarterback that's coming in our next recruiting class. Kevin Jennings is young, so they're probably going to redshirt him or just keep him as a backup. And Jennings will have the full ride or full role next year. And then we're just going to go to that guy. You don't go back to an older quarterback if you're going to pick Jennings as the starter.
Yeah.
Like, he's not getting the role next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing that Rhett Lashley said was, wherever Preston's next step is, or his next stage, is we'll be rooting for him. It's like, well,
Yeah.
it sounds like it may not be.
That's a
here.
direct quote.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, wow.
he said you haven't heard the last of Preston Stone, whether here or somewhere else.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
because it wasn't. Yeah, maybe not quite as like explicit, but it's implied that they've basically they know. I mean, it's obvious. Though.
But I do
They know that
I
he's
do
probably
think,
the-
like, going back to George's question, like, if Kevin is terrible and they go back to Preston, he wins us the game.
Then Preston should.
You can't, like, you have to go with him. But then again, it makes the whole thing seem more farcical. Of like, what are we doing here?
I think we're still at the same place we were last week. Is no one has won this job. It seems like Kevin has the job now.
Yeah.
Kevin has the job with a 24.9 QBR. Just throwing that out there.
Exactly.
Which again,
No
we feel
one's
like is
won
not
this
his
job.
fault.
And it's
I think it's the
not
coach's
entirely-
fault
yeah.
that both of them have looked
Oh.
bad. It's their job to get them ready. It's their job to pick one, and they couldn't do that. So
Yeah. Shout out to Bashard Smith, who's been able to carry a heavy load.
yeah,
And so hopefully he pops off this week. I think expect to run heavily this week.
Mhm.
If we can throw some options out there, I think if we can kind of confuse the TCU defense, and then lean with the run and then hit him with a pass.
Yeah, we do have to keep the ball security. He lost a couple,
Yeah.
but yeah, he
Yeah.
really is. He's the Burchard is the focal point of our offense. Without him,
yeah.
we have nothing right now.
I rewatched
mean-
that fumble that he had. I really do think he
Which
was
one?
trying
There
to
are
pitch
two?
it. Well, there
Oh,
was the
the
one
pitch
he
one.
recovered.
Yeah.
That was epic. That
No,
Yeah.
when he recovered
yeah.
himself, that was a really cool play. But the one that he tried to pitch to Jordan Hudson, I think, was just it was a brain fart. It looks
Yeah.
it was
Because he's
It-
going
it did
down,
look
he
like it.
sees him calling for it, and I think he's just like, like a panic moment, and you just
Yeah.
throw it. Like, of course, it was a bad decision, but
maybe a great idea half a second earlier
Yeah.
against Houston Christian, but
Yeah.
just take the ball
If-
to the ground.
yeah.
If it made it to him, it would have been a touchdown. Like
Yeah.
he had a free shot basically.
And it's
but
hard to
it's
like.
a risky thing to do.
It's hard to blame Jordan Hudson either. Like, I understand what he's thinking. It's not his fault that he made the decision and it fumbled. So it's just
Yeah.
There were some
I-
really unfortunate things like the punt off the guy's back, and then there's
Yeah.
just really unlucky things that did happen.
yep.
But
And
at
just
the same
poorly
time, you
timed
can't-
penalties.
Yeah.
I went
Just
back and
killer.
watched, like, there were like two, like a fumble recovery and the interception that were just like, we were so close to scooping and scoring. Like, our defense was like
Mhm.
one block away from making it to
Oh,
the
the
zone.
touchdown. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like, if we had just scored, like,
Yeah.
it's frustrating.
If our defense could have just gotten it to the end zone.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But against teams like this, you can't let the football gods decide for you. You gotta
Yeah,
you
that's
gotta go
true.
out there and show
You
that
make
you're
you
the
make
better
your
team.
own luck
Yeah.
at the same time. So
that's true.
We had, despite all the mistakes, we still had every chance to win that game,
I mean,
and we just didn't.
Yeah, if you go to the red zone 6 times and you get 6 points, that's
Pathetic.
it's kind of
That's
on
pathetic.
it's on you.
Yeah.
It's not
1
that's
point-
not really the
1 point per red zone drive.
yeah. It's not
I think
really
it was
on
5 and 6, but regardless,
5 and
like,
6,
yeah,
something like that. It
We were
wasn't
2
pretty,
for 5 in the red zone.
yeah.
Pretty
yeah.
pathetic.
Should we? I feel like we should. We
And they were
should.
only field goals.
We should shout out what BK Yellow Mamba said about crimes. What was the statistic that Georgia football?
They average more than
one arrest per month
arrest or reckless driving citation for the last 2 years straight.
every month.
Oh,
Like they're
per month.
averaging
They had
one
one
month.
like 3 days ago too.
Yeah,
Yeah, they had a
yeah.
really
ever
bad one. It was like over
ever since the
165
accident, I think
in
is
the
what he
range.
was saying.
Georgia's
so-
averaging over 1 arrest a month for the past 2 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And
and
so-
30.
yeah. And
bet
so
the-
Brian hasn't been on the show in a while, but I'm sure you guys remember Brian. He thinks that the solution to our problems as a team are we need more convicts.
Hey, I just want to say, so Rashee Rice, shout out to him. I mean, he got one of these, and he was probably our best receiver in the last 2 decades. No, more than that.
Well,
Since what's his name, Cole Beasley.
Courtland
probably-
Sutton also.
This is
Well,
Courtland Sutton erasure.
No, Cortland Sutton. I'm just okay.
I don't know if he was better.
I love
It
Cortland
doesn't
Sutton.
matter.
I'm just
Doesn't
saying.
matter.
Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Cortland Sutton
What
would be
about
like
Trey
a
Quinn? Come on,
2-3.
guys.
Yeah. So
Anyway.
Brian also suggested that if Preston wants to win the job back, he needs to steal some bagels from Shugs. So
Couldn't hurt.
yeah. So I think we can move on from the quarterback situation again.
Well,
like
Yeah, just real quick. I guess let's go around
Yeah.
and say who we think should have the job.
Oh,
oh, that's hard. I mean, I would have erred on the side of Preston getting a full chance, which I still don't think he got.
Mhm.
And then moving on, like I think they made the right decision that they made a decision, and based on the evidence, it's hard to say like Preston's looked better than Kevin. Again, not a fair shot. I just wish the decision was made earlier. So I think I'm sitting on the fence there, but
You got to pick one, Preston or Kevin.
I would have gone with Preston. But yeah,
I kind of agree. So I guess quick side story. I used to be a driver's ed instructor, and when we teach students about yellow lights, I always tell students, you either go or you stop, but you cannot change your mind halfway through. And so I think we're kind of a similar situation here. I'm glad. I agree. I think it's good that the decision has been made, whatever it is. But I agree. If you made me pick one right now, I'd say Kevin.
Yeah, I think my pick right now is Kevin.
yeah. I feel like the situation was unjust towards Preston, and I think he would have been playing better. And he may not even have lost the job if they did it the right way. But if I had to put like a crystal ball of like who would give us the best chance to win the most games the rest of the season, it probably is Kevin. So I think that Kevin is the right decision, but the way it was done feels icky.
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's fair. Well said. by
And I don't
everybody.
know. I could definitely change my mind this weekend.
Yes, this weekend is going to be a very big litmus test in terms of being like, all right, that was a great.
Maybe having the
decision, or-
same conversation in 1 week.
Yeah.
And
I think-
let's hope we're not.
Yeah.
We got to see
Oh no.
we got to see points scored. Mostly
Yeah.
like in the end zone, right? Not
Yes.
not through the uprights. If we can get touchdowns, I think we can win this game.
Yeah.
I think if we get to 35, 38 points, we might
tall order.
that'll win. The
I
game.
think so. Yeah.
If we score 15 points from 5 field goals,
We're gonna lose.
I think
Yeah.
we're going to lose.
Yeah.
And so
So wait. So real quick though, it kind of going into like how we think the TCU game is going to go. If we score 15 points, we're basically saying that our defense is not going to be able to hold them to under 15, which is fair because that's a low scoring game for teams like TCU.
Yeah.
I think our defense could hold them anywhere from 18 to 28, probably. I bet they're probably in that range.
That's fair.
What's
35 would be a bad day, I think.
Yeah.
I think that we're actually more likely to keep them in a lower scoring. I mean, this may be obvious and speaking to the choir, but I think that we're more likely to keep them into a under 20 game if we actually are scoring, 25 plus, because not just that we're keeping them off the field, but there's just something about you have momentum that just kind of hurts them.
You
And
also
so-
force them to make riskier decisions.
And yeah, that's very true too.
And that has not been good for Sonny for the last season and
Who?
a half now. Sorry, Cloudy.
Cloudy. Thank you.
Yeah.
He
Make him
used
take
up
risks.
all of his luck. And
That's right. That year.
2022.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's over. It
I
ran out. Yeah,
I still have PTSD because I was watching the end of the UCF game. I was like, I know UCF's gonna blow this somehow. Like TCU's gonna win, and thankfully they didn't. It was nice.
Yeah, as he said, Cloudy spent all his luck already.
I feel like we're on this exact same page because we both lost to lower tier Big 12 teams.
Was it you that told me like this is the first time in a long time that both teams going into the Iron Skillet matchup have lost a game leading into
It was not me that told you that.
I saw that on Twitter then. Then this is the first time in like 10, 15 years that both teams have lost.
Yeah, there's
Leading
no
into
undefeated
the-
team in the because we play it so early. We always play it within the
Well,
first 4 weeks.
Because
The
we've
week
stomped
before.
UNT the week before every time.
Right.
Facts.
Well,
Rest in
2021,
peace.
we had to beat Louisiana Tech with a Hail Mary.
Well,
oh,
that was
that's
a long
right.
run.
That's
We
right.
got
I
so
remember
lucky
that.
in that game.
Yeah, we used a little bit of our luck there.
Speaking
That was cloudy.
Speaking of which, shout out to the University of Central Florida.
Let's go Knights.
We love you,
Good for you guys.
Gus. Big Gus. Hey, doesn't Rhett come from the tree of Gus?
He does. Yeah.
I still don't
Oh,
think.
right, from Auburn?
Correct. Yeah. Rhett won a national championship.
So,
At all.
Rhett, the blueprint's there. They did exactly what you have to do. And now the question is, can we do that?
Remember when Gus
Doubtful.
coached from the table at Ford?
Yeah.
Just a little side note. Remember that?
I don't
His
actually.
broken leg.
Yeah, he had a broken leg. So they
Oh.
like put him on a pedestal.
Is that
was
21 or
funny.
22, something like that?
I think it was 22.
What happened?
Didn't
that
they
he broke-
destroy
do-
us?
Do we know
He
what
broke
happened?
his leg,
Doing-
and so he had to like coach from a.
No, yeah, I remember him having to coach in that. It was really weird, but like, was he
get,
just like
hit on the
walking, or was he
sideline
like
or
in a
something?
I
on the
think he had
sideline and got run
crutches.
over? Or
I think he like crutched his way to like the platform that had like a ramp.
oh no, I
But
mean
how
like
did he break
how'd
his
the
leg?
injury? Did somebody
I
run
don't
into
know.
him on the sideline or something? Because I don't remember. I just remember him like showing. We're like, what's going on? This is something else.
Yeah. Sorry, that was off topic. I just
No, I think that's. I hope that Rhett and Gus talk this week. Hope there's some strategy shared there.
Yeah.
One thing I think we got to do well is perform on third down. I think if we look at the first half of TCU, they executed extremely well on third down, especially on third and long. They could not be stopped on third and long. And if I remember correctly, they
I
did
hate
pretty
that.
well on third and long against Stanford as well. And so I think our defense is up for the task, but we got to perform well when it counts, especially on third down. And so
Holy
got to be careful
cow.
there.
Yeah, we were 3 for 16. They were 10 for 15
Wow.
against UCF,
And lost.
and they lost. They were 10 for 15. Well, UCF was 11
Wow.
for 16, so they just
Wow.
need that one more.
Yeah. Well, I think if we looked at just the first half, I think they might have been perfect in the first half, and then absolutely crumbled in the second half. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
whatever, we just got to outlast TCU, and so I think they're probably gonna score some points in the first half.
Yeah.
If we can hold them to maybe 14, 21 points in the first half.
Yeah.
Great.
The other thing to comment on, so Brashard Smith is I wouldn't call him elite running back for a Power 4 team, but he's a great running back. He is a great running back. I would say that he could start on a lot of Power 4 teams. They allowed almost 300 rushing yards in that game.
Yesterday.
TCU did against UCF. So we are strong in the running game with Brashard. So if we're going to do anything, I think it has to start with him. Like if you were going to give me like, what's the key to the game? Or if you gave me what do they call it? Like a lock stat or whatever. If you tell us that we rush for over 200, I would feel pretty confident over TCU. But I think that I think we have to just kind of dominate them all over the ground.
I like that idea.
I think we have to, another key to the game is, which I think people have talked about this before in every game really, but we have to start fast because last year we started very slow and it was over. Like we didn't show up for the first couple of drives and we got spanked and it was ugly. So we have to like put a drive together right
Mhm.
away, and we can't just sleepwalk.
Uh,
Which maybe not being 11 a.m. will help. I don't know.
I also wonder if the coaching staff scouting kind of our opponents, seeing more of them being run weak or run defense weak, and knowing that Kevin Jennings can exploit that was kind of a big factor in him being named the starter. Because they're just thinking, okay, so TCU, maybe some other teams down the line, they suck at, stopping the run. We just need to basically shift our entire offense from being a pass-heavy air raid style thing to let's take advantage of their weaknesses as opposed to let's do what we're good at. I don't know.
Yeah, I think if we can take advantage of that, especially I think RPOs and options, and just like Brashard Smith and Kevin Jennings kind of doing a little speed option or something like that. I think those plays could be very successful next week. I think if we can utilize screen passes well, I think that will make Kevin look better. I think here's the thing. We can't call Preston plays with Kevin at quarterback.
Yeah.
And we did that last week. We were calling Preston plays with Kevin at quarterback. So we got to move on from what we thought our offense may look like and move into a Kevin Jennings offense, not a Preston Stone offense.
I also feel like this year, and I feel like even going back to last year, despite what we're saying about Preston, it felt like when our offense did well, generally it was people making big plays rather than, as much as I hate to say it, like the two people I hate the most in college football, Cloudy and Lincoln Riley. Like they just make it look so easy for the quarterback to make throws. Like they scheme people open.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like we do that. I feel like everything is hard. Like last year it was like Preston throwing bombs, receivers making plays. Whereas like it rarely ever feels like, even against BYU, like did it ever feel easy? Like, oh, that play was easy. It's like even when we got a play, it's like we're working so hard to do it. It just doesn't feel like the design is getting people open. Because again, like young quarterback, you have to make the game easy for him. You have to give him some easy throws, get him into a rhythm, and we just haven't been able to do that. So I think there's a lot of work on the scheme. And I think that's one reason why I was super confident going to the year that we were going to beat TCU, and I'm less confident now because as much as okay, Cloudy Dykes, we know that he's a choke artist, that he'll always choke, but at the same time, like, has Rhett done anything to prove that he's a better coach than him? And I would say no. And so it's hard for me to trust our coaching staff, which is the way they've handled things so far. And I'm talking about offensive staff. I completely trust Scott Simons on the defensive staff. But that's why there's part of me that's not so sure.
Well, I'm a little less off the Rhett train just yet. I think it's...
No, okay.
I think it was a mishandling of the QB situation, but, like, I mean... I don't think we should be on the have Rhett's head yet, because you got to also think like Rhett was, I mean, wasn't he our offensive coordinator when
in 2019?
Yeah, in 2019 when Sonny Dykes, we had what's his name? Buechele? Was it Buechele?
Shane Buechele.
Yeah.
What's his name? How dare you?
I know. Sorry. Love you, Shane.
Well, but okay, I'm not saying that. Number one, number two, that was Cloudy's offense. But I'm not saying we should fire him. I'm just saying I don't fully trust him right now. He needs to earn my trust. No, I don't matter, right? But I'm just saying, like, in my head, I don't necessarily trust him right now. And if this works, I'll trust him and he'll deserve it. I just think he's lost some of my trust with the way things have been handled so far, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying we should fire him or he's not the guy. But I think questions have to be asked, especially if we lose this game. I think major questions have to be asked. We cannot lose to them again.
Yeah. Yeah, so. If we lose, then I think maybe take the play calling away would kind of be my first step. I'm in no way, shape, or form on the fire Rhett.
Yeah, definitely not.
I think Rhett's the right person for the job right now.
Yeah.
But he's got us. We got to win some big games that matter.
Right.
Yeah.
And this would be a great thing if we can finally cross the bridge of Rhett's never beaten a Power 4 team. Let's do that this week.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So if we can do that, then I think we can put a lot of this to rest. But
hey, we'll give it to Rhett. We'll give it to Rhett.
Yeah, we will.
So yeah, I would say, like, I think he earned the reason why I'm not, like, the only real critique I have is the QB situation, because I feel like I think he is a good coach, and I don't even think he's necessarily a bad play caller just yet. I think that a lot of stuff went wrong, and a lot of it comes from the QBs going back and forth. But like last year, I mean, I think he earned, just like Stone did. I think they earned trust that's worthy of some level of, just, hey, let's give him some grace here. I just felt like Preston didn't get the grace that he deserved, but we should still give some to Rhett.
But the grace runs out if you lose TCU, is what we're saying. Like I'm saying this is a big game for me. I think conversations have to be had.
Out, but it would be dry.
Yeah.
If we lose to Florida State after that, after what Florida State has been doing this year, then maybe we start having that discussion.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's where we're at right now.
Yeah. We're not saying anything about like he should be fired, or we're just saying this is a big game. We need to win. We can't lose again.
Yeah, man, the fall of Florida State is still mind-blowing to me. Going into the top 10 team and starting out 0-3.
And I just want to say, everybody's hating on on DJU, and he looks terrible. But the coaching staff
Come on,
there
Mike Norvell
is terrible.
Been awful.
Yeah. I mean, there's people dropping passes. The scheme looks terrible. Everybody looks scared to do anything to make a mistake. Like that's got to be coaching. And I will say this. I plugged myself yesterday. As soon as they hired him, I always said, because we know Mike Norvell well from Memphis.
Right.
As much as he did a great job there, I've always thought he was a fraud. And I feel like I'm being validated now because I didn't think it was going to work, and it hasn't. So,
yeah. One thing just quickly to say about Lincoln Riley and Cloudy Dykes is they're both Mike Leach tree people.
yeah.
And the air raid really has made bad quarterbacks look really excellent when they're surrounded by great wide receivers.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yes.
so as much as I would love to do that, we don't have the wide receiver core that I think it would take to take Kevin or Preston that direction.
I think we should, though. I mean,
We should.
there's
I mean,
there's
historically,
something
we've
going
been
on
that
with the
team.
receivers because maybe it's the design, maybe it's the quarterback shuffling, but yeah, there's something going wrong there because at least like there's a lot of buzz about some of them in the offseason and nobody stepped up. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yep.
All right, should we move on to like Iron Skillet specifically? I think George, you had some stuff.
I
for
got
that.
some. So I did a little digging the past few days about the Iron Skillet, the history of the Iron Skillet, as well as just general SMU TCU comparisons. And I did my utmost. I pride myself on being very unbiased, so you may hear some things you don't want to hear. So I've got some stuff. So this is the 103rd overall meeting between these two teams. The overall record is not important. Let's move on. The longest win streak by any specific team.
SMU.
Yeah.
20.
Yeah, let's hear some guesses on the
23
numbers.
years.
I would say a high teen year where it's like, well, no, winning streak like in
Winning
a row?
streak in a row.
Oh, 13. It's gonna be lower.
I mean, I would have. You sounded really confident. So normally I would have said like 7 or
No,
I'm
it's gonna
making
be
it up.
it's gonna be in the teens.
We were dominant at one point.
okay.
I
Well,
don't know
before
if
the
that-
death, if you take it up until the death penalty, we have the better record. The
Right.
problem is
Gotcha.
that for 30
Since
years
then, yeah.
straight, we
Yeah.
had no.
How
real
does
football
TCU
program.
not have the record then? Because they
They-
suck.
Well, because
We
they
don't know
still,
if they do or not. That's just not relevant information.
Oh, I thought we have the longest streak.
No,
we do.
No,
No, I-
The overall record.
he was asking-
I was
see.
saying, yeah.
'cause
because
every,
they still
6
dropped-
years
'Cause they
we would
suck.
beat them.
Yeah, they still would drop stuff to us, even though we had
Okay.
no real football.
I said 7. I'll stick with it, even though it's probably not right. But
The longest win streak was SMU, 15,
Oh,
from
it's close.
1972 to 1986.
wow.
Some of the highlight games.
Basically, until the death
yeah.
penalty, we were on an undefeated 13
Yeah.
in a row or streak, or 15 in a row streak, and then the death penalty comes.
Garbage. Some highlight games. 1935, which is often referred to as the game of the century, SMU won 20-14 on a late fake punt touchdown and went to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah. Who
That
won
is
the
all
national
that is
championship?
important in that season. Nothing else is relevant.
I mean, yeah, nothing else is relevant is true because TCU also claims the national championship in 1935, and it's kind of BS. They lost to us.
SMU went out and lost the Rose Bowl after that. TCU
Like 3
doesn't
to
matter what
2,
they
right?
did.
We
I
lost
don't
the Rose
know.
Bowl. I think the final
for
score of the Rose Bowl was 3 to 2. So
1966 is another one. SMU won that game 21-0. But it's also important because that was the game in which Jerry Levias broke the color barrier in the Southwestern Conference.
nice.
And then my favorite
At
one.
SMU. So
Right.
No,
SMU broke.
yeah,
yeah,
SMU's
that's what I was going
player,
to clarify.
Jerry
is that
Elias.
SMU was the team that broke the barrier.
yes, for the whole conference. I don't think it was
Just
for college
saying.
football. Yeah.
Just saying.
We're the good guys.
And then this one's maybe my favorite. 1918. This is the 4th ever meeting. The first 3 were less than ideal. Do not look them up. But in this game, any guesses to the final score?
You said this is the 4th one?
This was the 4th ever meeting. It was 1918.
6-0.
I'll give you a hint. It was the lowest combined score in the series history that wasn't a 0-0 tie.
Oh,
There've been a
2-0.
few.
3-0.
I was going to say 3-0 also.
Well, actually, it's probably 2-0, but because I don't know how many field goals they were kicking way back then.
This is a trick question because the answer is actually 1-0.
Because
What?
TCU forfeited.
That's correct. TCU forfeited. Do you know why?
The Spanish plague.
No.
Okay.
Their bus got stuck in the mud in Grand Prairie on the way over.
In Grand Prairie?
Yes, I'm not even kidding.
I'm dead.
Well, back then it was probably nothing but fields. So
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So let's see what else I have here. I pulled up some record against common opponents. I just picked one at random. Let's say Auburn. SMU is 3-0 against Auburn. And TCU is 0-3 against Auburn. So thank you,
Nice.
Auburn. Very cool.
Shout out Gus.
Picking another random team, Fordham. TCU is 0-2 all time against Fordham, which is a little embarrassing.
How many times has their frog killed their mascot?
Well, hold on. SMU is just 1-2, and we killed their mascot. So that makes us 2-2, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see. Last year, SMU defeated TCU in the Equestrian National Championship to win their
Facts.
second consecutive
congratulations,
natty.
ladies.
Facts.
Shout out to SMU hockey. They beat TCU in the conference championship last year. That was, I think, the final score was 6-5. I was at that game. That was a lot of fun. So shout out to SMU. We gotta get some SMU hockey guys on this podcast.
That'd be fun.
This may be bad. I didn't know
We
that
have a
SMU
club.
It's a club
I realize
team,
it's
but
a club hobby. I didn't even know we had a club hockey.
Do you know one of our club hockey players played in the NHL?
Really?
That is
No.
technically true. Yeah.
I did not.
Wait.
know that.
So a couple years ago, the emergency goalie for the Stars building, he came into the game for the Anaheim Ducks. His name was Thomas Hodges, and it was just like a random guy who used to play hockey, and is like, that's his job, as if both teams goalies get hurt, he's the emergency goalie. Anyway, he played club hockey for SMU.
Oh,
So yeah, SMU does have an NHL player, which is
And he
Nice.
just recently joined staff for SMU hockey.
that's fun. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
So he's
Wow.
not on the team anymore, but he's on staff.
Mhm.
let's get him on.
Yeah, I
Should
think
get
he
him on.
sells
That would be
insurance.
That would be
nowadays,
awesome.
But
Oh,
well,
well. sorry,
okay.
I didn't
Before
mean, I
you
didn't mean to
I
say it
mean,
like that.
Yeah, Ben is just like, oh.
Well, because I thought you said he was working on the staff.
I think it's a
Well, it's a-
part-time.
it's a club.
Oh,
It's
yeah, it's a
not
club.
like-
Yeah. Sorry.
All right, here's the Dallas and Fort Worth. Dallas sees 25.7 million visitors per year. Fort Worth sees 11 million visitors per year. And do you know what this means?
We're twice as good as TCU.
It means no one comes to DFW for Fort Worth.
That is true.
Plus the 11
She
million
is right.
probably came for Dallas.
Yeah, they
maybe
came-
maybe they stayed in Fort Worth because
They got lost.
it was cheaper, or
Right.
they wanted to feel less safe or something.
I wanted to see how the other side lives.
Let's see, I got like 4 more. Okay, next one. We're comparing the number of current staffers who are complicit in the Baylor scandal from 2016. SMU 0, TCU 1. So that's another win. Remember these are all the important facts. I'm no bias here. Remember,
facts.
Yeah, Kendall Briles, the offensive coordinator
that's
for
right.
TCU,
Yeah.
was part of that Baylor staff.
Allegedly.
Well, he was literally
sorry,
part
he
of the
was
Baylor
part of the
staff.
staff,
but yeah.
He was
Uh,
allegedly a
Allegedly part
See,
of the scandal.
Next, we're talking about the hairline of the head coach. Brett Lashley's hairline has only receded by 2 inches, whereas Cloudy Dyke's hairline has receded by at least 4.
Wow. Good work.
Those are just guesstimations
That
from
is-
pictures, but that's my expert opinion.
I love that he went in and found pictures and then measured it. You know, I
Yeah,
could just see
just-
George like
Just did the little scaling trick
Yeah.
with the P. Yeah. All right. SMU's student population. I couldn't find 2024 numbers for either school, so these are 2023 numbers for both. SMU had, including graduates, undergraduate and graduates, 11,842 students enrolled. That, of course, means there are 11,842 world changers enrolled at SMU. TCU, in comparison, has 0 world changers enrolled. So
Facts.
I feel like this is like if you guys ever seen 300, where Leonidas is like he's talking to the Athenians, and he's like, "How many soldiers did you bring?" And they're like, "Potter, blacksmith." He's like, "How many did we bring?"
Yeah.
Everyone's like, "Who?
yeah.
Who?" It's like, yeah, that's us. We're the Spartans.
And then lastly, we're talking about Heisman trophies. If you consider every single year the Heisman Trophy has ever been given out, except for 1938, SMU has more Heisman Trophy winners than TCU.
Except
Well done.
And I mean, nobody likes 1938. Like,
Yeah, it's a terrible.
I tried to look up fun facts about 1938, and surprise, none of them were very fun.
Surprised the world was,
Yeah.
in tatters.
Facts.
Yeah.
In 1946, is that when Doak won?
Doak won in 1948. So yeah,
48.
there's a reason that era in United States history is called the Great Depression, and that's because TCU claimed 2 natties in that time. So
Of course, they would take advantage of the poverty of
many
America.
do they
Exactly. Just those 2, I think.
Yeah, and how many do we claim?
3.
3.
We have 3.
Yeah.
So
There's another one. So
We
that
have-
is
sounds like-
Iron Skillet by the numbers.
TCU sucks.
I couldn't agree more.
If you agree, go to TejasDesigns.com. Buy a shirt.
Facts. TAYHOSS designs.com.
and let's just see how many TCU sucks we can get in the comments. I just want to see like
Right.
just
Yeah,
a
if you're still
row
listening,
of TCU sucks.
throw TCU sucks in the comments of the YouTube video.
I'm a little conflicted because we're technically supposed to wear blue, right?
To the game.
I'll go back on my same rant. Why do we have to be told what to wear all the time? You know, we are grown men. We can make our own decisions.
It does look better when everybody wears the same color.
You are a grown.
on
I
TV.
like red on Fridays because that's been a thing for forever.
Yes.
We did these. I can understand Friday games. On home games, I'm a little less.
I'm okay with one Saturday a year. You can tell us what to wear. But I don't necessarily agree with that. When we look like a crowd, it's like fine. Like it's a crowd of people, they don't have to wear the same color.
Aren't we trying to like checker the stadium at some point later in the
That's
year?
Florida
Or
State.
stripe out for Florida
Yeah.
State.
I unfortunately will not be at that game, but I'm curious to see how that goes.
We're losing a lot of interest, I think. Or sorry,
Well,
Florida
Ticket
State.
prices
Florida
have
State.
plummeted.
Well, yeah,
Quite unfortunate.
which is not helpful
I mean,
for.
They're 0-3 guys.
Yeah.
They're the poverty program of the ACC, so we gotta have pity on them in some ways.
I still think it'll be a good show out. People still want to watch them play. Who do they play this week? Does anybody know?
Cal.
Yeah. I'm worried that Florida State is gonna play their best game against us.
That would just be an SMU thing.
See, in
Yeah.
in my group pick'em or whatever that I do last week, I picked Florida State because I'm like, all right, they've been embarrassed. They got embarrassed in Ireland, then they got embarrassed at home. Now they've had an off week to really get it together. I think.
They had a bye week and they still lost. I didn't know.
Yeah, they had a bye week last
Oh
week.
my
I'm like, I
gosh.
think because
So it's week 0, week
everyone's memeing on them. I think they're going to show up and they're going to beat Memphis, and then they did not do that. So
It's pretty embarrassing.
There's some real program issues there, but we don't have to get into that.
Yeah.
we'll save that for the one after this one.
Let's solve our issues, and then
Yeah.
we can critique them.
I had a question. It was shout out to Pony Access on Twitter. Brian found this, but I'll change the question a little bit. But basically, would we rather destroy TCU and they fall apart completely and they end up firing Cloudy Dykes and potentially could become a real program with a better coach? Or would you rather them beat us and go 5-7, 7-5 every year, keep Cloudy and stay in mediocrity forever?
The second one for sure.
Do we get
But we
we
lose.
want to lose?
We lose in the second one. That's the hard part.
Oh, you're saying we lose next year?
Oh, I thought you were saying we want to. Okay.
I was saying we win and then they absolutely fall apart and he gets fired, or we lose but they stay mediocre.
So
forever.
basically, literally what happened last year is
Yes.
the second option, but just forever.
I'll be honest. I would rather watch that program fade into the abyss because, in my opinion, that is the more damaging thing.
How do they recover from firing Sonny? Who do they replace him with? I don't think there's any great options right now.
Well, I'm just saying, let's say they get a real
Jimbo
coach.
Fisher.
They should hire
Oh,
Jimbo
oh,
Fisher.
wow.
Okay.
You know what? Okay, wait. No, I take it back. Let's crush
Here,
them.
I have
Fire
it.
them.
I have it.
Get Jimbo in there.
What if they were to hire GJ Kinney, for example? That would be terrible. He's a Texas State coach. Everybody's really high on him. Let's just say that happened.
Yeah, and then they go to the national championship again, get beat by Georgia, and then fall back into mediocrity.
But,
no matter what happens, they fall back into mediocrity.
The national championship thing is kind of a similar question though. It was fun seeing TCU get completely blasted in the national championship, but also we had to watch them get there.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's hard.
But honestly, I think we're overthinking this. The first option had us beating TCU,
Yeah,
and the second option did not have us beating TCU. So I'm gonna go with the first option, and then we'll ask the same question next year.
Yeah.
I think
I'd rather win too. It wasn't.
I'll
my
change my
question.
stance because there's something that Jay said that kind of is sticking with me right now is that they're in mediocrity either way. So because of that,
But it's funny when it's cloudy. Again, it wasn't my question. I'm just somebody else
no.
brought it up.
I'm okay with it.
As long as we win.
As long as we win,
Yeah.
who
that's
cares?
fair.
If I was given the option again, all right, now we can go 3-9 or what is
Let's say 6
we
and
win
6.
out, yeah, right?
Oh,
If we
okay.
win out
Okay.
or
lose
we
to
lose
TCU.
the rest of our games,
no, I
and
would
beat
rather.
TCU. I'll take beating TCU.
No. Because
No,
if we
yes,
win
yes,
out,
yes,
we're
yes,
national
yes, yes,
champions. because if we win out, we are
Okay,
national
shut
champions.
up with the logic there. All right, if that
I want the natty because that is the ultimate like screw you to TCU.
I'm actually a little. I mean, normally I'd be like,
No.
yeah, let's beat TCU and lose
we
the rest
didn't-
is worth it. But honestly, 0-8 in first year in the ACC, tough look.
if we
Like that's rough.
if we lose to TCU the year that we win a national championship, it means nothing.
I don't know. A natty's a natty.
Okay.
We can literally say
As
we have
much as I like
twice
to
as
push
many
it.
natties
Yeah,
as they
but-
do.
Forever.
Yeah.
It's like us with 1935.
We
It's like,
we
hey,
could say we
we-
won a natty when people weren't all depressed.
Wait, let's make
well,
it
we
more.
already have two.
All of our natties are when everyone was
Yeah.
depressed.
Let's make it more realistic. What if we say we beat TCU and then we only win one more game, so we go 4-8 versus losing to TCU,
Yeah,
but we
no, I-
go like 7-5.
No, I'd rather beat TCU for sure.
I'm just trying to make it like a harder decision.
We can so if we beat TCU,
We go five.
Don't go.
We go like
four.
4-8.
The
Yeah,
only
no
thing
bowl.
that pushes us over the edge of I would rather this than beating TCU in a regular season game is natty. Like natty pushes me over the edge because that's the ultimate screw you to
Yeah,
TCU.
The
I
Frisco
also-
Bowl doesn't do it.
Though
for
I
Yeah,
will.
the Frisco Bowl doesn't do it.
Me personally, this
true.
year, I feel like I'd be more willing to lose to TCU is not the right way of putting it, but like, I think
You might sacrifice it more.
I want to make a good first impression in the ACC. Next year, however, we'll already have an ACC year under belt, and it will be the last one. I would go 1-11 next year, no question.
See, okay, that was what I was gonna ask. Is like, would you rather finish the series with the win or win at home here?
Also,
Like,
without a doubt, we cancel the series if we win, right?
Yes.
I think we should.
Or we could just beat them twice. Duh.
That too.
Yeah. Or we just beat them once and keep the trophy.
See, here's the way I feel about what we're saying.
I would
Like,
I would like beating them in their own places. The final,
Yeah,
like screw
yeah.
you. And
If
you
we-
walking out like
if we beat them and lost every other game, it would be kind of hilarious because, like, haha, we sucked, but we beat you. But then again, that feels like little brother syndrome. Like,
Yeah.
our Super Bowl was beating
Exactly.
you. So,
Yeah,
I don't
it's
wanna
just
be there.
Divisional championship, not the Super Bowl. It's
yeah,
definitely
but
the playoffs.
we'd give that.
Also,
vibe.
part of it is that like there are TCU people in the Metroplex, and I'm sure all of us we interact with them occasionally, and like you got to have that bragging rights or in-person
Yes.
stuff. Like I don't know any Syracuse or we don't play Syracuse like Pitt fans or Boston College
Right.
fans. I can like brag to, so that's also an important factor.
Shout out to Boston College.
Yeah,
They gave Missouri all they wanted, and they probably
Not
blew
quite
it
enough. Yeah.
because they an interception. But man, they're a good team. I think
they took a really good
I
to
was
the wire.
I was embarrassed last year when they beat us, but clearly, like, they have a similar team with a different
I was
coach.
telling Jay before I think Boston College is the best team left on our schedule, just straight up, including.
Better than Louisville.
I think so. Although to be honest, I don't really know what Louisville's.
Yeah,
They haven't done
we,
anything.
We don't
They
know
have
much
only
about
played
them.
Yeah.
cupcake team so far.
They're definitely one of the best. Yeah, they're top two at least.
They're the one that I'm unsure about. Boston College is the best of the rest of them, but Louisville I'm not sure about just because they haven't played anybody good
Yeah.
and they've just demolished these.
I wanted
cupcakes.
to throw out another quote. Somebody on the board, somebody who's not feeling very good about this week. Which again, I said, I don't know if we said this. We'll get into the predictions later. I can understand this, but TCU is minus 1.5. ESPN gives us 53% chance to win, but he said this is an SMU person going to take out a second, third, and fourth mortgage and put it on TCU. So somebody is not feeling very good about our team.
Yeah.
I just thought that was funny because there's part of me that is not too sure.
I would stay if I was a betting man, I don't want to bet on this at all. But if I was, I would stay away from this like the plague. I mean, there's no telling what's going to happen on Saturday, other than what our predictions are, because we obviously know what's going to happen. So, Yannick, you want to start? us off?
I forget that I wanted to amend my season prediction because I predicted 10-2, which of course was stupid now, but that was before I knew they were going to play around with the quarterback thing. But yeah, let's do TCU predictions.
No, what's your season prediction?
I personally think our ceiling is 7-5, but I would guess more like 6-6 if it continues the way it's going right now.
I just want to comment that 10-7 is a pretty big drop
Thank
from
you.
10-2 to 7-5
Yeah.
for the upper ceiling. Do you really think it's that?
Well, we'll see how we play this week, but I just after seeing we look like a talented team against BYU that is just extremely poorly coached. That's what I walked away feeling like. Okay, I wouldn't say extremely talented, like a talented team. Like we could be a middle of the pack ACC team. Whereas before I was like, maybe we could win, which of course was foolish, but
We can.
If
we
we
have
win,
0 conference losses at the moment.
oh yeah. Speaking of conference losses,
that's true.
TCU is in last place in the Big 12. Just throwing that out there. They are the only team with a loss in their conference in the Big 12.
Is that true?
It
Are
is
they
true.
the only team to ever have had sole possession of how many teams are in the Big 12 now?
16, I think.
16.
So
Yeah.
they
The
are
only team to ever have 16th place, sole
Beautiful.
possession, 16th place.
Beautiful.
Just throwing that out there.
And Florida State are the same.
They are basically equivalent programs
Yeah.
right now.
Facts.
Okay, George, do you have a season prediction?
A season prediction?
Yeah, well, then we'll do the score
Yeah.
prediction of TCU after that.
I think we're gonna. Maybe this is just a little bit. I think we're gonna figure it out. I think our ceiling is 9-3. I think we're gonna go 7-5.
I think we'll still go 10-2. Our floor is 7-5. Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, I think we can do better than.
I mean, our ceiling is obviously 11-1.
I think we can do better than a 5-4 on the. I bet we can go 8-4. I'm changing it to 8-4. I'm feeling good.
I actually agree with Jay that 7-5 is our floor. I think that first of all, I'm gonna say if we beat TCU this week, I think that we go at least 9-3. I think if we beat TCU this week, we will go 9-3. And I don't even feel like that's that crazy of a prediction.
I don't think so either. Our schedule is so weak now.
Yeah, it is so weak right now.
Yeah,
because-
but we made BYU look like world beaters. That's my thing. Is like every team is going
but
to be
as you
better
said,
than
it's-
BYU or as good.
but they're
I
I
don't know
think
about
so.
that.
yeah, I don't know if they're going to be as good as BYU, but
I don't think Virginia is as good as BYU, just off the top of my head. But
Florida State's definitely not.
Yeah, but
Stanford.
but we don't look like a team that knows what they're doing.
I get what you're saying, but I think that a lot of our problems are easily solved problems if the coaching staff just
If
fixes it.
I
Which
hope
isn't it,
I
this
hope
is
you
what I'm
guys are
saying.
right. I'm
No, this
rooting
is-
for us, obviously, but
I'll get to my prediction.
I
Which
just feel
is,
a little
I'm
negative.
keeping it at 9-3,
okay.
which is what I said. I think like a month ago.
Yeah.
But I think if we beat TCU, I feel really confident in a 9-3. I'll just say that I feel really confident.
If we beat TCU, I think 10-2 is not out of the question. I mean, I think we can lose to Louisville and then walk the table after that. And so there's a chance.
This is why, because if you beat TCU, you figured something out with the quarterbacks. Jennings is in a rhythm because we're past at this point because of the decision. We're past Stone. Jennings, if we beat TCU, we're in a rhythm, and if Jennings is in a rhythm, our defense is not elite, but it's a great defense, and you can really run the table with what we have.
All right, so Yannick, do you think we'll beat TCU?
It's a coin flip, for sure. It's definitely a coin flip. They are awful at the run.
Heads or tails?
What'd you flip?
Quarter.
What do you want?
Heads or tails?
Well, TCU's the tail, so I'd say heads. And we are heads. So I'm going to go with
Wow.
SMU to win, and
That
it's going to
got me.
be
I'm in.
24-20.
24-20. Okay. SMU will defeat TCU on Saturday. TCU's going to strike first. TCU's going to pull out ahead. I think what's going to change is Kevin Jennings getting in a rhythm. I think the second half is going to be where it is. So it's going to look bad at halftime. I think we'll be down like 18-7 or 18-3 or something like that. I think we will not look good in the first half, but TCU will look even worse in the second half. And I think SMU wins 31-27, something like that.
I think that a mysterious person is going to drop some spike strips on the ground in Grand Prairie, and we're going to win 1-0. But actually, Yannick stole my 24-20 prediction. So I'll say
No,
things,
just agree
I'll
with
say
it.
things a
Go
little
with it.
funky. I'm going to say 24-16.
That would be funky.
SMU wins.
Actually, 25-16. Let's get real funky. Yeah, SMU wins.
I'm trying to think of how this is going to happen.
2 safeties, 3 touchdowns.
Something like that.
I gotta say, I'm gonna pick SMU to win, but there's a very large part of me that thinks we are gonna lose, and there's a part of me that would not be surprised if we got blown out. I know that there's no way that should happen, but I think I'll go with 31-23.
So you basically think what Jay thinks, just we don't get it together in the second half. Or it's possible that happens, maybe.
Yeah, I'm picking SMU to win. That's on the record. But I would not be surprised if we lost, and it was similar to last year where we just look terrible and just don't show up.
Yeah.
I think that would be unacceptable. There's no way that should happen. But I'm not going to predict it. But I'm a little nervous. I don't feel great.
My heart is fully prepared for us to not show up in the first and second half.
Yeah.
But
my heart's not prepared.
Yeah. I think that we can put it together.
I hope so.
I think more than anything, I think TCU will continue to suck.
Regardless.
Because, well, first off, their quarterback's name is Hoover, which is literally like a vacuum brand.
It's a vacuum, yeah.
And so...
Which sucks.
So
Vacuum sucks.
So TCU
Vacuums
sucks.
do suck.
So I think TCU will continue to suck more than SMU is bad at offense
Fair
at
enough.
the moment. And so I think SMU will find a way to get it done.
I hope so.
The other thing is I feel like it's pretty easy to scheme against them. They have 400 passing yards and 50 rushing yards. So
Well, let's see if our secondary
basically
up to it.
have your secondary do their job because our D-line is going to be fine.
Yeah.
This will be a big test. So,
we're excited.
yeah.
We
And on the CW.
Yeah, and for next week's post game, we should have some new faces on the pod.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun next week. It'll be quite a bit after the game.
Yeah. Yes.
But because we'll go to the press conference and then
Yeah.
we'll come back here.
We
But
should have some a nice little panel out here, so it should be
Yeah, that was actually kind of convenient because I'm like, when are they gonna go live? And I drove home, and y'all didn't go live until I got home, which was nice.
cool.
So I
Rather
think that
than
helps.
ride it, yeah.
That helps the people who are at the game.
Yeah, that's true.
That's good to know.
And then when like we're on the road or whatever, like we can go live right after.
Yeah, that I mean, on the road, but
Yeah.
So
people don't have
Yeah.
to drive anywhere, so that works
Yeah.
perfect.
good to know.
That is good to know.
Yeah, let us know what your preference is in the comments. And yeah, comment TCU sucks. If you're still here, just do it again.
Facts.
And follow us on Instagram, and subscribe on YouTube. And I think you can leave comments on Apple Podcasts now, and and follow us on Spotify as well. So wherever you're listening, however you're listening to the Mustang Mood, just be sure to follow and like. Thank you for listening. Pony up. And
Let's go.
Let's beat the heck out
Let's
of
fry the frogs,
TCU.
baby. Come on.
Yeah.
Fry that frog.
Pony up.